Meet Jin Kwang, our good-for-nothing main character. He was supposed to die in the explosion and do this world a favor, but he has reawakened now. Confused as always, he has no clue what's going on. However, after some wandering around, he finds himself in trouble. Bro's first day in this new life is so bad that he finds a guy being offed right in front of him. Then a bunch of Grim Reaper wannabes start chasing him. So he, a grown man, rushes to seek help from a young girl. Turns out that this girl's brother died to protect a legendary emblem. When she tries to use it, the emblem doesn't work. So she uses it on Jin as if he is some lab rat. Well, this lab rat is in luck, because he acquires the demonic swordsman class after the little emblem experiment. A man lies flat on the ground on a cold, rainy night, looking like he already checked out of life. Then suddenly, he jerks awake, dragging in air like his lungs just remembered their job. He tries to stand, but his arm screams in pain, so he grabs it and steadies himself. Rain keeps pouring while his mind feels foggy. He remembers an explosion, the kind that erases bodies. That blast should have killed him. Then it hits him. His name is Jin Kwan, former Special Forces. On his last mission, his own organization boxed him and his squad in and used them as live targets for explosives. Straight up betrayal. His final memory is fire swallowing everything and his body getting ripped apart. Now he is alive, soaked, and barely holding together. The pain gets worse, but he forces himself forward, since standing still means dying slow. He spots signs of life nearby and sees light bleeding from a building. He steps inside carefully and calls out. A man is there. Jin approaches calmly, but the man suddenly twitches like something crawled inside him. That is when Jin realizes things are about to go bad. Before he can speak, the man starts screaming while dark energy tears through him. From below, someone in the sewer yells for his brother. So this dying man is that brother. He collapses and drops a strange metal tablet. Jin picks it up, and right on cue, two masked figures block the doorway. They call him a rat crawling out in the rain and decide he cannot live after seeing them. Their hands glow, ready to end him. Jin bolts toward a manhole, gripping the tablet while dodging attacks. Even death refuses to leave him alone. An explosion rips through the building behind him. He shouts into the sewer that he will toss the tablet if they do not open up, because letting that brother die for nothing would be pointless. The cover slides open. He climbs down fast. Inside, a young girl aims a gun straight at him, calm but shaking. She demands answers. He tells her he only wanted shelter. She orders the tablet. When she sees it, she breaks down crying for her brother. Jin watches her and feels something heavy in his chest. He has seen that empty look before, in war zones where people lose everything. Women who stare like that do not recover just because someone pulls them out once. They lose homes, family, country. Then they fall into another cage. He kneels and tells her to think of him as a mercenary. He says her brother hired him, and he will protect her the same way. The girl stands, eyes still wet, and says he will not live long. She explains he was soaked in dark rain. This is the dead city. The rain is not normal acid rain. Once it dries, it turns brutal. Since he absorbed too much, death is already knocking. That explains the weakness crawling through his body. He asks where this is. She says the third dead city, lower district of the Flying Eagle Empire, year 1000 of the Star Scar era. Skull-masked men are enforcers, magic-type profession holders. Jin has never heard of any of it, so either he is insane or he got thrown into another world. He asks about profession holders. She says anyone who obtains an emblem can awaken as combat, support, or special type. She shows him the emblem her brother stole for her. Another explosion shakes the sewer. She tries to awaken, but the emblem rejects her due to mismatch or lack of talent. She calls herself trash while tears run down her face. Above them, the enforcers break in. With no options left, she presses the emblem against Jin's forehead. Red and black energy erupts like something ancient just woke up. A system window flashes before his eyes. Demonic swordsman, enhanced vitality, ability to sense evil intent. Jin's pain fades under a new kind of heat. His expression shifts slowly. Looks like this new world just handed him fresh weapons, and he plans to test every single one. Jin stares at the glowing panel like his brain just short-circuited. The words do not feel real. Lin Meng quickly explains that the emblem is a perfect match and that he is officially awakened as an expert. Relief washes over her face since he is clearly not one of those twisted enforcers. Whatever she went through before must have been ugly. The enforcers glare at Jin and demand to know how he dared use an emblem without permission. They sentence him to death on the spot. Problem is, the weak guy they saw earlier is gone. Standing there now is a swordsman who looks way too calm for someone who almost died twice in one night. One of them lunges without warning. Jin moves on instinct, blade snapping up with perfect timing as steel clashes hard. The attacker freezes, eyes wide, then stumbles back like he just met a different species. Jin does not waste the moment. He steps in fast, faster than he has ever moved, and his sword cuts clean through multiple enemies in a single brutal flow. Strength floods his body, hot and sharp, and even his injuries feel erased. Lin Meng watches with wide eyes while the remaining enforcers start whispering, shaken that a fresh awakening is wiping them out. They mutter about not reporting this failure. Jin hears every word. He lifts his sword again and tells them to stop worrying about reports since none of them are walking out. One final slash tears through the air, and the last enforcer drops. Lin Meng snaps out of it and says, they have to move because backup will come soon. Jin looks at the manhole, now too far and too exposed. He asks how they get out. She nods confidently and says she has hidden here before, then tells him to follow. She lights up TNT like she has done it more than once, blasting open part of the wall. With a faint smile, she explains a staircase waits on the other side. About an hour later, they crawl out through another manhole. She leads him to her small shop, apologizes for the mess, and asks him to sit while she tidies up. Jin studies the cramped place and says it must be rough running it alone. She pauses and quietly admits it was not always like this. 2 people used to manage it. Now she is the only one left. Jin apologizes, realizing he stepped on a fresh wound. Before the silence settles, 3 men walk in. The girl stiffens when she sees the one in the center, the warlord. He approaches calmly and asks if she even understands the deal her brother made. Her expression gives her away. He smirks slightly and signals his man to take her. Jin steps forward and tells them to stop. The warlord turns, irritated, asking who he thinks he is to interfere. Jin asks what right he has to take her. The warlord answers simply that he has the right because he is the warlord. Jin gives a faint smile and says he believes the man is not entirely rotten. His new ability lets him sense intent, and he does not feel pure malice. The warlord laughs and says the word good barely survives in Deadman's City. Then he asks whether Lin Hu left any final message. Jin ignores that and asks about the girl's prize. The warlord explains that her brother believed he could survive Pit 1. It is a mining pit crawling with sand-eating worms. The job was simple on paper. Enter, retrieve what was requested, and come back alive. Success meant Lin Meng stayed safe. The warlord studies Jin and says he needs to test whether he is worth negotiating with. Without another word, he steps forward and throws a punch straight at Jin's face. Lin Meng quickly warns Jin not to accept the challenge. She tells him that Wang Meng is a Tier 2 professional, but to Wang Meng's surprise, Jin blocks his punch with his sword. Jin calmly asks if that is enough to qualify. Wang Meng smiles and agrees to the deal, yet he says a rookie will never survive Pit 1. He explains that Pit 1 has a grudge spider matriarch. 3 hours after it dies, a grudge-cleansing flower will bloom. Jin must bring that flower to the lower city street guard post to trade for Lin Meng. He also announces that all men aged 16 and above from Necropolis 3 must go to Pit 1 tomorrow at 8 in the morning. Anyone who fails to arrive will die. Jin watches Wang Meng and his crew drag Lin Meng away, his mind racing. He figures her brother knew he was toast in Pit 1, so he swiped the emblem to keep his sister safe. Now he's gone, and Jin can't shake the feeling he's being played by the warlord, kinda like how his ex used to toy with him. Danger's looming, so he decides to test these new powers first. He closes his eyes, focuses, and suddenly, a dark figure erupts beside him, wrapped in blue and black flames, his nether flame idol. The second talent is fuzzy, but the energy hits hard. Swinging his sword, he sends a shockwave that splits a wall clean in half. Checking himself in a mirror, the body doesn't feel like his old soldier frame. Skin's too pale, too smooth. The system flashes his new name, Diwu Jin Chuan. He sets the thoughts aside, decides to gather intel, and figures a bar is the best place to start. There, the bartender mentions everyone's heading to Pit 1 tomorrow. Jin asks if it's mining work, and the bartender laughs, saying that's for the lower city folks. Pit 1's crawling with sand-devouring bugs. The bartender explains that once these things chow down on flesh and blood, they dig nests in the sand. Miners say the bugs loosen the soil when they burrow, which makes mining faster and easier. Jin is shocked and asks if that means they are going down there as food for the bugs. The bartender, who looks tired of life, calmly agrees and even raises his drink to it. Jin slowly clinks his glass too. In another place, a high-ranking officer named Li Hongyu slams his fist on his desk in anger. He shouts at his subordinates for failing to bring back the stolen insignia. One man explains that the thief was turned to ashes, and no proof of identity was left. The other suspect escaped through underground water tunnels and used a bomb to destroy the path behind them. Lee Hong-yu does not care and orders them to find the insignia at any cost. A subordinate nervously says that an insignia is as small as a gold coin, like finding a needle in a haystack. He also asks, what if someone has already used it? Hong-yu coldly replies that filthy scum do not deserve such items and should be killed one by one. The man tries to speak again, but stops as another subordinate agrees with the young master. He reminds Hong-yu that tomorrow morning people from necropolises 1 to 5 must enter Pit 1. If they fail to bring enough crimson blood, they may be punished by the Eagle Corps. Hong-yu nods and orders everyone to be inspected before entering the mine, in case the thief is hiding among them. The next day, the men gather at Pit 1. Knowing it is almost certain death, Hong-yu arrives and confirms everyone is present. He orders a full inspection. A machine called Scavenger B2, which can sense spiritual energy, is brought out. If it detects an insignia, it will sound an alarm. The officers begin checking the crowd as Jin quietly becomes alert. One of the officers roughly pushes Jin into the train and tells him to stop wasting time. The train is already packed full, and there is almost no space left. People are pressed tightly against each other, and many complain that they are being crushed and can barely breathe. Inside the heavy crowd, Jin suddenly notices a strange hooded man. The man has a wide, unsettling grin on his face and is holding a glowing purple crystal in his hand. The sight makes Jin's eyes widen. He immediately feels a strong sense of danger coming from that man. He does not understand why, but the feeling of hatred and malice in the air is so strong that it makes him uneasy. As more people are forced into the train, breathing becomes harder and harder. The air grows thin, and panic begins to spread. The situation is so terrible that 2 men are already crushed to death in the crowd. People start shouting that there is no more space, and that they cannot fit anyone else inside. Just then, guards rush into the area and point their guns at the people. They order everyone to raise their hands. Jin calmly follows their command and lifts his hands as well. Soon after, Hong-yu walks in and carefully looks around. He announces that he has lost something important in the lower city the day before and demands that whoever took it should return it immediately. Jin feels shocked when he hears this. He realizes he might be cooked here and guesses that the item Hong-yu is talking about could be the emblem. It seems too much to be a simple coincidence. Hong-yu smiles when no one speaks up and says he will just find it himself. At that moment, the Scavenger B2 machine is brought forward again and activated to scan the room. It passes over Jin, but to his surprise, it does not detect any spiritual energy from him. The machine continues scanning the crowd. Suddenly, a loud alarm sounds, showing that spiritual energy has been found. Hong-yu smiles with satisfaction, believing he has finally located the person he is searching for. The hooded man looks completely confused when the alarm goes off. He has nowhere to run because the train is too crowded. He quickly drops to his knees and begs the officer not to kill him. He raises his hands and shows that the only thing he has is a glowing purple crystal. Hong-yu steps forward and stares at the strange crystal. Without hesitation, he throws it to the ground, and the crystal shatters into many small pieces just like my heart did when my ex. Anyways, Hong-yu is now angry and says that no one wants such worthless trash. He orders the machine to continue scanning the train for spiritual energy. The machine is activated again and carefully checks the people one by one. However, it does not find any more unusual spiritual energy. Hong-yu becomes more irritated, but he has no choice. He orders his team to move on and inspect the next train car. After that, 5 long hours pass while the train continues moving forward. Jin finally asks where they are going because they have been traveling for a very long time. One of the passengers points ahead and says that the red light in the distance means they are entering Pit 1. The passenger also reveals that the guards have already jumped off the train earlier, which means there is no one controlling the situation now. As the train moves deeper into the tunnel, the same passenger opens a window and suddenly jumps out. He explains that the train will go straight into the center of the pit, and the deeper it goes, the more monsters they will face. Jin understands that they have reached their destination. Like the others, he also jumps from the moving train. He lands inside a large cavern filled with glowing red crystals. He looks around carefully. This place is completely unknown to him, and he has no information about it. At a moment like this, he wishes he has someone to guide him. Suddenly, his focus sharpens as he notices a wave of energy rising and spreading around him. Jin quickly takes a fighting stance and swings his sword around him. He stares into the darkness and tells the person hiding to come out so they can talk, saying he has been sneaking around for long enough. Suddenly, A silver-haired man jumps out and angrily shouts at Jin to shut up and die. The man rushes forward and attacks at once, but Jin steps aside and avoids the strike. Moving quickly, Jin grabs the man by his hair and slams him down onto the ground. The man coughs up blood as Jin raises his sword and tells him to go to hell. However, the man's expression changes right away. He begins to beg for his life and says he had no choice. When Jin questions him, the man says his name is Cheng Xiao. Jin asks why he tried to ambush him. Cheng Xiao explains that he has been trapped in this pit for more than 10 days and has not eaten properly. He was starving, so he thought about killing Jin and eating him to survive. Jin then asks how he became a profession holder. Cheng Xiao replies that sometimes you can get an emblem by killing monsters, but it is very rare. He says the better way is to loot the looters. I mean the rich young people from the upper district when they come down here, because most of them do not want to fight. He adds that they will treat you badly and use you as bait to attract monsters. It is very hard to survive in this place, unless you are lucky enough to meet someone who is actually kind. Jin looks around the cavern and asks if there is any safe way to live in the pit. Cheng Xiao scratches his head and says, there really is not. He suggests finding a cave and hiding inside. If Jin can stay hidden for 15 days, he might survive until miners or rich people arrive. But if he cannot fight the bugs, he will only end up starving to death. Jin asks Cheng Xiao how he managed to level up in this place. Cheng Xiao explains that the only way to grow stronger here is by killing bugs. However, this is Pit 1, and even the weakest bugs here start at level 11. He says that the people sent here are basically just fertilizer for the monsters. While they are talking, Jin suddenly becomes alert. He notices something fast moving toward Cheng Xiao from behind. Without thinking, Jin quickly shoves him out of the way. A giant mosquito dives down toward them. It is a level 9 red-blooded mosquito. I swear it's the one from my room from last night. So, Jin immediately pulls out his sword and mutters that he has not even been here long, yet he is already facing bugs. Cheng Xiao panics and starts running, shouting that they will die if they stay. But Jin calmly steps forward and kills the mosquito in one strike. He says that even though the monster's level is high, his talent is powerful. Cheng Xiao stares at him in complete shock. His mouth hangs open as he cannot believe Jin killed a red-blooded mosquito with a single blow. He drops to his knees and begs Jin to let him become his right-hand man. Jin refuses and says he does not want useless weight slowing him down. Suddenly, the ground begins to shake beneath their feet. Jin sees a bright, glowing light ahead of them. From that light, a level 15 crystal bug appears and moves toward them. The creature lets out a loud roar. Jin stays calm, though surprised. He quickly dodges its attack. Cheng Xiao, however, is terrified and screams for Jin to save him. Using his dark insight ability, Jin studies the monster. He realizes that the creature has very strong defense, but moves slowly and awkwardly. A smile appears on his face as he says this kind of fight suits him perfectly. Without fear, Jin steps forward to face the crystal bug directly. A red and blue aura surrounds him as he releases his power and attacks the beast head-on. Jin lifts his sword and strikes hard against the crystal shell of the bug. The sharp blade hits the hard surface and breaks it into many small pieces. The crystal cracks and falls apart. At that exact moment, a system message appears in front of him. It congratulates him for killing the level 15 crystal ore bug and tells him that he has gained 1,000 experience points as a reward. Jin stares at the message in disbelief. He cannot believe that he has just gained 6 levels all at once. It truly feels as if the rules of this world work just like an online game. If that is true, then he thinks that defeating enemies much stronger than himself must increase the reward and the drop rate. He quickly moves on and defeats another bug nearby. After killing it, he kneels down and uses his hands to dig into the monster's body. From inside, he pulls out a shining emblem that seems brighter than my future. He is surprised to see that monsters really do drop items after being defeated. However, this one is not a class emblem. It is an equipment emblem instead. Curious, Jin tries to equip it right away, but the emblem suddenly rejects him. A system window appears again and informs him that his level is still too low to use this equipment. Jin decides not to worry about it for now. He knows that staying alive is more important than using new gear. He stores the emblem away and begins to explore deeper into the cave. After walking for a while, he suddenly stops. Ahead of him, he sees many glowing red eyes in the darkness. Soon, those eyes begin to move closer, growing larger and clearer. He realizes they belong to crystal bugs, and there is a whole swarm of them. Instead of running away with his tail between his legs, Jin smiles. This situation is perfect for training and gaining more levels. He raises his sword and charges forward. With fast and powerful swings, he cuts through the crystal bugs one by one. His efficiency increases as he keeps fighting, and his level rises steadily. He continues swinging his blade without stopping, killing the entire swarm around him. One after another, Jin defeated the monsters until he finally reached level 10. System notifications kept flashing in front of him, confirming his new level and improved skills. He should have received the title of a maniac by now. At last, he obtained a class emblem. He begins to think that if there are class emblems and equipment emblems, then there must also be swordsmanship emblems somewhere in this world. That thought makes him even more eager to continue fighting and growing stronger. Just then, his focus shifts when he hears a strange sound nearby. He looks down and notices a green liquid slowly rising from the ground. Suddenly, the liquid shoots toward him like a stream, but Jin quickly dodges out of the way. The ground starts shaking violently once again. A massive creature emerges and moves toward him. The system identifies it as a level 25 crystal ore bug king. Jin's eyes widen. He understands that this enemy is far too strong for him at his current level. Realizing it would be foolish to fight such a powerful monster now, he decides to run instead. As he flees through the cavern, he suddenly spots a pack of wolves ahead. The wolves notice him too and grow angry at his presence. Thinking quickly, Jin comes up with a plan. He runs toward the wolves while making sure the Bug King is chasing him closely from behind. When the Bug King spits out its acidic green liquid again, it hits the wolves instead of Jin. The wolves howl in pain and rage. Jin skillfully maneuvers so that their anger turns toward the Bug King instead. Soon, the wolves and the giant bug begin fighting each other fiercely. Jin moves to a safe distance and watches the battle unfold with a calm expression. He hopes that both sides will injure each other badly. He plans to wait patiently and then step in at the right moment to deliver the final blow and claim the victory for himself. The pack of wolves goes wild and attacks the king bug fiercely. They bite and tear at its hard shell with sharp teeth. Seeing the perfect chance, Jin quickly jumps onto the giant bug. When he notices that its strong defense has already been broken by the wolves, he smiles. He raises his sword and prepares for his final strike. With one powerful stab, he drives his blade deep into the bug's body and kills it instantly. Jin feels relieved, but also understands that even as he grows stronger, defeating a Tier 2 boss is still difficult for him. He knows that if he had fought it alone without using the wolves to weaken it first, he would have been badly injured at the very least. After calming down, he starts checking the items dropped by the monster. A system screen appears in front of him, listing the rewards. It shows equipment emblems, something called Beetle's Leap, Tier 2 boots, and an Agility Plus bonus. Jin holds the emblems in his hand and sighs, knowing that they are useless for him right now. He decides to store them away for later. Just as he finishes, a loud explosion suddenly echoes through the cavern. Jin instantly becomes alert and looks around, wondering if someone else is nearby. From the shadows, a group of birds suddenly flies out while the ground beneath him begins to shake again. My man can't catch a break. He listens carefully and hears noise coming from a certain direction. Curious and cautious, he slowly moves toward the sound to see what is happening. Suddenly, he hears a sharp and urgent voice shouting at anyone nearby not to come closer or they will die. Jin freezes at once when he recognizes that voice. It belongs to the bartender he had met earlier. Jin sees the bartender looking like a White Walker from Game of Thrones. The bartender mutters to himself that if he stays trapped in this place any longer, he will die sooner or later. The bartender looks up at the two level 19 vampiric blue bat kings and says they have been watching him closely. He knows there is no way for him to escape from them. Even so, he refuses to stand there and wait for death. He decides that if he must die, he will at least fight with everything he has. With shaking but brave hands, he lifts his gun and points it directly at the two powerful bosses. He pulls the trigger and fires several shots at them. The loud gunshots echo in the cave, but instead of hurting the Bat Kings, the bullets only make them angrier. The two giant bats let out loud screeches and immediately rush toward him with terrifying speed. Their sharp claws and wide wings make them look even more monstrous and even uglier. The bartender clenches his teeth tightly. He feels fear and frustration, but deep inside, he truly wants to live to see the next day. Just when the bats are about to reach him and tear him to shreds, a sudden slash of black energy cuts through the air. In the very next second, both Bat Kings are sliced into pieces. The bartender freezes in shock and could not believe his own two eyes. He then notices Jin walking toward him calmly, as if killing the two bosses were side quests for him. The bartender feels relief and gives Jin a grateful smile, thanking him for saving his life. He quickly tells Jin to follow him because he knows a way out of this dangerous place. However, before they can leave, the bartender suddenly stops. He sees the bat corpses on the ground twitching strangely. To their horror, the two dead bodies begin to move and slowly join together. Flesh and bone twist and merge, forming one large and terrifying monster. The creature roars loudly with hunger and rage. Both men understand right away that this is very bad. Their eyes grow wide as they stare at the ugly and grotesque beast. Without giving them time to react, the monster charges straight at them. Jin and the bartender shout to each other to be careful as the creature attacks fiercely, sending flames toward them. Jiran bravely steps forward and tells Jin that he will hold the monster back while Jin should escape quickly. He fires his rifle and a wave of icy energy shoots out, freezing the Bat King's flames in the air. When Jin refuses to leave, Jiran looks at him in shock and asks if he is crazy. He explains that the monster is a fusion type and many times stronger than a normal boss. If they stay, they will both die here. Jin only gives a small smile and says they cannot be sure who will die. He also says killing a boss gives more experience. With that, he rushes forward faster than the Flash and charges directly at the ugly creature. Jiren watches nervously and calls him a madman, saying he has never seen anyone so eager to die. He also says he has never seen someone with an aura like that before. Jin attacks the monster head-on and swings his sword across its body, making it even angrier. He already expected this fight to be harder than the earlier ones. Jin activates his nether flame power, and a blue flame guardian appears. The guardian looks like a knight and begins fighting the creature beside him. Jiren stares in shock when he sees the blue flames. He cannot believe that a descendant of the Tianqi Empire still exists, because he thought only one woman from that family remained. During the fight, Jin reaches level 15. He believes leveling up is getting slower now. Even after killing 3 bosses and hundreds of bats, he only gained 4 levels. Jiren thanks him for saving his life. Jin then asks if he is a class holder or a normal person. The man sighs and says he used to be a class holder but lost his power and became normal. He now survives only with his weapon. He explains that a poison called the Death God's Flower in the Abyss can corrupt a class emblem and remove a person's power. Jiren smiles sadly and says he was the only person in his family who never awakened a talent. Even so, because he was the oldest son, family tradition required him to inherit a very powerful class emblem, much like how my parents wanted to be a doctor. Still, he says that the human heart is difficult to understand. Jin smiles and jokes that after hearing his story, he can already imagine a dramatic tale about 9 sons fighting for the throne and him becoming the crown prince who was pushed aside. Jiren laughs and says Jin should not talk like that. He explains that Jin himself does not even have a story about fighting for a throne. He says it is like the pot calling the kettle black, meaning they are both similar. Jin looks confused by his words. Jiren says he believed Jin's family had already disappeared long ago, so he never expected someone like Jin to still be alive. He even says he can imagine how shocked the Tianqi Empire would be if they saw Jin one day. Jin is surprised that the man seems to know about him. Jiren explains that more than 1,000 years ago, a famous pioneer awakened a powerful SSS-ranked talent. At the same time, that person also gained the legendary class called Holy Light Knight. Both enemies and monsters feared facing him. That man's name was 5th Qing Xuan, and the talent he awakened was called the Nether Flame God Statue. Jin is stunned when he hears this. He cannot believe that he may have such a strong bloodline in this world. However, he still does not understand why Jiren said his family had become extinct. The man replies that he does not want to talk much about the empire because his own family turned into a disappointment. For hundreds of years, none of them awakened an SSS-rank statue, and even the clan leader only had an S-rank statue. Suddenly, they hear something coming from behind them. At that moment, a glowing equipment emblem appears. Jin crushes it, and a new weapon forms. He smiles and says it is almost as good as his old one, maybe even better if it can be fused. He swings the blade and releases a powerful wave of energy, surprised by its strength and speed. Jin is surprised when he sees that the weapon upgrade really works and becomes stronger. After that, he turns to Jiren and offers him the blue and purple emblems, asking if he wants them. The guide refuses and says he is not interested because those are only low-level emblems. Instead, he says he wants to make a deal with Jin. He shows him a special emblem and explains that it is a legendary class emblem. It belongs to an ultra-long-range sniper class that can attack from very far away. He says that if Jin ever wants to join a legion and explore the wasteland, a sniper is something every legion needs. Jin is impressed and asks if the emblem is truly legendary. Jiren explains that emblems have 8 grades. White means inferior, gray means common, Green means fine, blue means superior, purple means exceptional, orange means epic, gold means legendary, and red means mythic. He says the one he has is a gold-grade emblem. The man offers to trade this legendary emblem for a favor. As he hands it to Jin, he jokingly asks Jiran if he is not afraid that he might just take it and leave. Jiran smiles and says they are the same kind of people, no homo. He then takes out a map and explains that his family once discovered and opened this mine before selling it to the Flying Eagle Legion. He promises that with his guidance, Jin can reach rank 3 in this mine with little risk. Once he reaches rank 3, he will not have to fear anyone in the lower city. Jin thinks about the deal and asks what help the man needs. The man says that according to his family records, an abyss scythe rat once appeared in Pit 1. This creature can sense and open fissures to the abyss. If they can make it open one fissure, their deal will be complete. Jin understands that he must first reach rank 3, and the man promises to help him do that. Jin asks Jiren if he knows where the resentment spider matriarch is located in the pit. Hearing this, Jiren begins thinking why this man would want to get killed so badly, wanting to find such a dangerous creature. Jin keeps a serious face and says that he needs a clear resentment flower. The man smiles and explains that there is a reason why his family sold Pit 1. First, without the sand-devouring worms, the red blood ore in this place is very hard to mine. Second, the resentment spider matriarch lives here, and that is why Pit 1 is still only partly explored. He points to a place on the map and says that the area is restricted. Redstone tourism has even banned children from the upper city from playing there. He explains that the spider matriarch is a rank 3 level 39 overlord. Anyone below rank 4 would only become food for the spider no matter how many people they bring. Jin agrees to help the man find the abyss rat, but in return he wants all the information about the spider matriarch and the map. The two men quickly make a deal and start moving deeper into the crimson tunnels. Jiren warns Jin to be careful because level 18 steel-tailed scorpions live there. They can dig underground and attack suddenly with their tails, but they also help people level up quickly. Suddenly, one scorpion jumps out to attack. Jin stays calm and uses his new fusion weapon, striking the creature. The scorpion screams loudly. Jin tells Jiran to move back so he will not get hurt. Then Jin quickly slashes and cuts the scorpion into 2 pieces. Jiren runs to the body and says steel-tailed scorpions drop hemostatic hides that can heal wounds. He holds his injury, saying he needs it. But he suddenly stops when another beast appears behind him. Jin quickly raises his sword again and swings it fiercely at the approaching scorpions, warning them to stay away from his friend. More scorpions begin coming toward them, but Jin stands firm and faces them bravely. Jin keeps swinging his sword and kills the remaining scorpions. He tells Jiren to move back and retreat first while he holds the monsters off. With one strong strike, he cuts down several of the creatures at once. A system window appears immediately and shows that he has defeated monsters that are 7 levels higher than him. Because of this, his efficiency rating rises to 100%. The system also shows that he has now reached level 16. Jin feels pleased because tier 2 monsters have become very easy for him to defeat. Jiran, however, is shocked. He wonders if this is really the strength of a tier 1 professional. Even a normal swordsman with an SSS-ranked talent should not be able to release such strong power. Jin cannot celebrate for long because he suddenly notices something strange above him. On the wall of the tunnel, there is a shadowy, plant-like creature. Jiren quickly backs away and warns him that the vines behind him are level 25 Lord monsters. They have powerful regeneration, so even if someone cuts them into pieces, they can grow back. He says the only way to kill them is to strike the amethyst on their back. Before Jin can fully understand his words, the giant vines suddenly attack. One rushes toward him and opens its mouth wide as if it wants to swallow him. Jin quickly dodges and jumps onto its tendrils. He calmly says the monster's weakness is very clear. Gathering all his strength, he delivers a critical strike toward the creature's core. The monster screams in pain and explodes. The system window appears again, congratulating Jin for reaching level 18 after killing the flower-mouthed insect king. Jiran is stunned and thinks Jin's sword technique looks very strange because every cut is smooth and clean like slicing tofu. They then see 2 new crests appear, one purple called Flower-Mouthed Ring with a healing ability, and one blue called Divine Radiance that heals nearby allies and reduces incoming damage. The man then asks Jin if he has a debilitating skill. Jin is like, "What now?" because he has no idea what Jiren is talking about. So, Jiren explains that debilitation is a power that affects living beings and stops them from healing or recovering. In simple words, it weakens their ability to heal. He says that when Jin cuts those monsters, their wounds melt like cheese, which shows that the effect is working. Jin begins thinking carefully after hearing this. He admits that his attacks do seem strange, but he believes it is because of the bonus from his garbled talent. Before he can think more about it, Jiren asks him if he has ever tried removing a crest. Jin shakes his head and says no. The man explains that once a crest is removed, it disappears into the world and cannot be traded or given to someone else. Only when a person dies might a crest appear again. Because of this, he warns Jin not to treat crests like normal equipment. They are part of a person's power and cultivation. Jiren then tells Jin that he does not belong to this measly region with his current strength, so he suggests that Jin should go north. Together they move toward the Lava Lord. On the way, Jiren explains that the Tier 3 Lava Lord has extremely strong defense and huge power, but it usually stays asleep. If Jin's sharp blade can cut it, it may cause an unexpected result. Jin asks why they need to kill it, and the man explains that defeating it will help Jin advance to the next tier. He also needs lava fruit, which is the Abyss Rat's favorite food. Soon they arrive where the Lava Lord is. The man says this creature is level 39 and the strongest domain lord except for the Overlord Grudge Spider Queen. Jin becomes excited and decides to try. He throws a rock at the Lava Lord, but the rock shatters without affecting it. This shows how strong its defense is. Jin then attacks with his sword. In a moment, his blade splits the Lava Lord's head and kills it. Jiren steps back in shock, while Jin happily prepares to equip a Tier 3 orange epic crest. Jin looks at the new equipment emblems he has just received. One of them is orange, and it increases strength by 10% after every successful hit. It also releases a lava shock that turns into a meteor and crashes down, creating a huge explosion that deals heavy damage. Another emblem is a purple breastplate that creates a shield to absorb damage. The purple helmet increases the user's hit rate by 10%. The purple shoulder armor gives a damage-absorbing shield after every 3 successful hits. Jin feels satisfied when he sees these abilities. He then checks if he can advance his tier. Although he has reached level 20, he realizes he still needs a swordsmanship emblem, otherwise his level cannot increase further. At that moment, he hears Jiren happily cheering after finding a lava fruit like a kid getting their favorite toy. The man says this fruit gives him about a 20% chance to fight against his fate. Jin walks over and asks if any monsters in this pit drop swordsmanship class emblems. He explains that he has reached level 20 and needs one to advance. Jiren thinks for a moment and says many monsters can drop swordsmanship emblems, but the chance is very low. The drop rate becomes slightly better only when fighting monsters at least 5 levels higher. He asks Jin what kind of swordsmanship style he prefers. Jin answers that he prefers an agility-based style. The man shakes his head and suggests choosing a constitution and tenacity-based swordsman build instead. He explains that this build usually has weak defense compared to knights and low damage compared to agile assassins, so it is normally useless. However, Jin is different because his nether flame statue can strengthen his defense, and with a rushing skill he can make up for the lack of agility. Jin agrees that the idea makes sense and asks where they should go next. The man studies the map and suggests checking the dried mines, Ghostwood Valley, and the train terminus to find the needed emblem. Over at the lower district, Li Hongyu is shocked and argues that they cannot enter without his permission. He says that if the thief contacts them, his name and his status will be in the mud and that he will become useless, as if he is any useless right now. One subordinate firmly replies that he is only a minor city lord in the lower district and cannot stop all of them. He suggests that Li Hongyu himself should step in. This makes Li Hongyu even angrier. Before he can react, he receives a call from his second uncle asking where the item is. He immediately changes his tone and pretends to be polite, saying the item is safely with him. He lies and explains that a friend is celebrating a birthday for 2 days and insisted he stay and celebrate. He promises to return the day after tomorrow. His uncle angrily warns him not to come back if he fails to recover the item, then ends the call. After that, Li Hongyu contacts Old Fang and asks for help stopping the group from the upper city. Fang Huai replies that the Flying Eagle Empire does not belong to his family, and it will be difficult to prove his innocence, but he agrees to check where the emblem was lost. He explains that the explosion passages still remain, and there are no other tunnels nearby, so it is very likely the thief is in the City of the Dead. After the call, Fang turns to old Zhou and asks if they can recover the item. Zhou confidently says the family always believed that if you try hard enough, the task will be done, and since the young master is trying, it will succeed eventually. Meanwhile, in Pit 1's Crimson Tunnels, Jin has defeated the Rhino Horned Bug King, which was 9 levels stronger than him. Jiren asks for the Rhino Horn so his injured leg can recover quickly. Jin agrees and keeps the skill emblem he found. He learns demon swordsmanship, and the system announces he has mastered Army Breaker's blade. After that, they use the bug meat as bait and successfully catch a level 23 bone-eating fish. When Jin sees the bone-eating fish monster, he quickly swings his sword and cuts off its head. Right away, the system announces that he has advanced to Tier 2. His new title becomes Demonic Swordsman, level 21. Jin smiles happily after hearing this. After the fight, the two men decide to rest and eat for a while. Jiren cooks some meat over a fire, and Jin praises his cooking. He jokes that if the man ever led a tour group, his business would probably do very well. While drinking some water, Jin asks if this world is very large. Jiren nods and says that humans have always continued exploring, and no one really knows what the end of the world looks like. In their Hengsha domain, 3 powerful forces have appeared. These are the Flying Eagle Empire, the Apocalypse Empire, and the Elemental Holy City. In this world, people respect strength above everything else. After hearing this, Jin says that living in such a place must be very difficult. Jiren answers that in this world only the strong can live freely. Everyone else simply lives under the control of stronger people. Jin then asks how long the Flying Eagle Empire might continue to exist. Jiren explains that when he still had influence, there were already signs of beast tides rising and falling along the borders. Because of this, he is not confident that the 3 great powers will be able to resist these tides forever. He believes the world may eventually return to a wandering era where monster nests appear everywhere. The two men also say they should avoid any tour groups that might enter Pit 1. At the outer platform of the City of the Dead, a tour group soon arrives. Li Hongyu travels with another man, who happens to be the brother of Ji Linger. Poor guy remembers the time when he lost his aura after getting beaten by Linger's brother. But he has no choice but to stay with them because he cannot allow them to find the missing emblem. Jin asks what a tour group is. Jiren explains that they are groups of young masters from the upper district who come here for entertainment. They enjoy killing monsters and also look for opportunities. After resting, Jiren stands up and suggests that they move toward Ghostwood Valley to continue leveling up. While they walk, Jiren explains that many slicing blade mantises live in this area and they are agility-type monsters. He gives Jin a blood bud shock bomb and explains how it works. When the bomb explodes, it releases sticky blood threads into the air. These threads can slow an enemy's movement a lot. He reminds Jin that he has a super armor skill, so he should be able to break free and quickly kill the Mantis Lord. After the Mantis dies, many iron wire parasites with very low defense will come out of its body. Jiren explains that his old profession was called blood-flesh mechanic, which combines mystical power with technology. He asks Jin to let him handle the parasites that appear later because he wants to use them to advance his gun. Jin is very surprised to hear that weapons can grow stronger by killing monsters. Jiren smiles slightly and says it is not really a weapon. It used to be his guard, but it died because of him. Later, he refined it into something called the Ghost Blood Sphere, and it still counts as a profession holder. Jin agrees and tells him to deal with the parasites if he can. Jin only needs a perfect efficiency kill on the Mantis Lord. Soon the Mantis appears and moves toward Jin to attack. Jin quickly summons his Blue Flame Knight. While the Mantis is busy fighting the Knight like a dumb insect, Jin uses the chance to attack and cuts the monster in half, instantly leveling up. However, the Mantis's powerful attack also damages his Nether Flame God statue. Jiren tells Jin to step back. Jin then notices that the mantis body is slowly regenerating. Parasites start growing from the lower half of its body. Jiren steps forward and says he will handle it, watching with satisfaction. Soon after, more mantises rush toward them, roaring as they attack. While Jin is busy fighting one of the mantises, 2 more suddenly appear behind him. Jiren quickly shouts a warning and tells him to get out of the group before he gets surrounded. Just as the mantises try to attack him, Jin immediately activates his Nether Flame God statue. With this power helping him, he manages to defeat the mantises even though they are 4 levels higher than him. At the same time, Jiren takes care of the remaining parasites that have appeared. After the fight, the man praises Jin for his fast reactions and strong reflexes. However, Jin suddenly senses another mantis nearby. Without wasting time, he quickly swings his sword and cuts that mantis in half as well. My guy is on a mantis killing spree. Not long after that, another group of monsters begins moving toward them. Jin does not hesitate. He uses his troll's earth-rending slash and swings his blade with great force. The powerful attack cuts through the monsters in a single strike and kills them all at once. Right after that, the system window appears and congratulates him for reaching level 22. Jin's strange and garbled talent allows his slash to have endless cutting power. When his blade strikes, the enemies are either killed immediately or left badly wounded, and they cannot even defend themselves. Suddenly, Jin senses a hidden attack coming toward him. He quickly twists his body forward to avoid the blow. When he turns around, he realizes that the attacker is a hidden boss mantis, and this gets him excited because he now has another mantis to kill. His body instantly becomes tense and alert because he understands that he almost died just now. Jiren quickly reminds him to use the thunder bomb. Jin throws the bomb, and it explodes in the air right away. Sticky ropes spread out from the explosion and trap the boss mantis, stopping its movement. Seeing that the Mantis King cannot move anymore, Jiren signals Jin to attack immediately. Jin does not hesitate and rushes forward with his sword. With one strong strike, he cuts the Mantis King into 2 pieces. After defeating the boss, Jin successfully reaches level 23. Soon after, 2 emblems appear from the fallen monster, and both of them are skill emblems. Jin understands that before he can advance to tier 3, he must make sure he has 3 swordsman skills ready. Only after having these 3 skills can he move to the next tier. When Jiren hears this, he happily says that his own weapon has also advanced. Then he asks Jin how many more levels he still needs. Jin calmly replies that he only needs 1 more level. He also explains that the best plan now is to look for monsters that are high level but slow, because this will help him hunt them more quickly. Jiren agrees with this idea and tells Jin to follow him to another place. As they walk, he introduces Jin to a monster called the spinal horned oxen. He explains that these monsters are usually calm and not very aggressive. If Jin does not attack them first, they normally will not attack him either. However, if someone attacks them, they will immediately use a strong skill called War Stomp Charge. Jin listens carefully and asks if there is a good way to deal with these monsters. Jiren explains that the best way is to use the land and build defenses. He says that in the past, pioneers used earth-type mages to dig many trenches and traps in the ground. They also used earth-sinking skills to slow the herd when it charged forward. However, Jin and Jiren do not have those resources now. Because of this, the only thing they can do is carve holes into the rock wall and use them as temporary cover. Jiren also warns Jin about a danger. The spinal horned oxen have a skill called Earth Prison that can instantly seal the rock and make someone fall if trapped inside. So, if Jin hides in a hole to avoid the herd's War Stomp Charge, he must come out right after dodging the attack. Jin thinks about this for a few seconds, and then calmly tells Jiren to stand aside and watch. Jiren carefully aims his weapon at the monsters below. After taking aim, he fires a shot. The sound immediately catches the attention of the spinal horned oxen, and they become very angry. The entire herd turns toward the man and starts rushing in his direction. The man quickly signals to Jin that the monsters have arrived and that he should get ready. Jin calmly replies that he is already prepared. He confidently says that even if the monsters surround him, they will not be able to hurt him. The oxen suddenly release a burst of monstrous energy and charge toward the cliff where Jiren had been standing. The cliff begins to shake and quickly starts breaking apart. Jin feels relieved that he followed Jiren's earlier advice. Otherwise, he would have been crushed flat by the falling rock. Jiren explains that the spinal bulls become tired after using their skill, and this short moment is their only weakness. Jin understands immediately and uses his troll's earth-rending slash against the bulls. He then jumps into the herd and swings his blade with great speed, killing many of them with a single strike. Jiren watches with wide eyes, completely shocked by Jin's strength. He cannot believe that Jin used 2 powerful skills and fast movements to defeat so many monsters at once. Even at his strongest point in the past, Jiren knows he would not have been able to fight someone like Jin. Even with his family's SSS-ranked talent and the mythic class Flash Mech Scrapper, he still believes he could not win. Jin continues fighting until the entire herd is defeated and finally reaches level 29. Jiren admits that he originally planned to use his gun to pull only half the herd, but Jin made that unnecessary. Jin then asks if the spinal bull herd has a leader. Jiren shakes his head and explains that if it did, it would be as dangerous as a matriarch monster. He then examines the bodies and explains that they contain valuable detoxification materials that can be sold for a good price. Jiren says they must work quickly because the smell of blood and fur is very strong, and many monsters will soon be drawn to it. He quickly collects the detoxification materials and puts them in his pocket. Jin then says he is only one level away from advancing his class, so it is actually good if more monsters appear. What a menace this guy has turned into. Jiren warns him that it will not be just one kind of monster coming. Several different groups may arrive at the same time, and that will make the situation harder to handle. He suggests that they simply kill whatever monsters block their path. Jin agrees with this idea, but he also says they should not waste the emblems that just dropped from the monsters. After picking up the emblems, the two of them move deeper into the pit. Jin asks where they are going next, and Jiren explains that they are heading toward the central area of the pit. This place has the highest number of monsters and also contains something called a refuge nest. Jin asks what a refuge nest is, and Jiren explains that there is an insect called the silver thread silkworm that lives in the red earth caves. These insects like to store food. They build a huge cocoon underground that acts as a feeding nest, and any prey they catch is trapped inside it. Because of this, if they enter the feeding nest, they should be able to find and kill many monsters easily. At the same time, in Pit 1, a rich tour group arrives. The members introduce themselves according to their family status. One of the men thanks Joe for guiding them into the pit. Joe replies that their main goal this time is land reclamation, and once the cleanup is finished, everything else can be discussed. Later, when Joe finally sits alone, he begins to feel bored and wonders when the train will stop. Soon after, Jiren and Jin spot the tour group's train. Jiren is shocked because he thought the tour group was supposed to arrive 15 days later. He suddenly makes eye contact with Joe on the train. When the two recognize each other, both are shocked. Joe believed Jiren was already dead. Angered, Joe immediately opens the train window and jumps out. Joe feels something is strange and wonders where Jin has gone. He is sure he has seen two people earlier, and one of them looks very similar to Jin. One of his subordinates notices his confusion and asks what is wrong. Joe replies that he is certain he has not made a mistake. Someone has definitely been standing there before. If that person really has not died, Joe wonders why he has not returned to the upper city. At the same time, Jin tells Jiren that the man earlier seems to recognize him. Jiren confirms this and says Jin can sell the Spinel Bezoar to that man because he is extremely wealthy. Jin then asks if that man is the person from the Tianha conglomerate that Jiren has mentioned before. Jiren explains that the man from the Tianha conglomerate is actually a dark priest who is pretending to be a normal priest. He also says that in the upper city there are only two known mythic class emblems. One belongs to his Bloodflesh Mechanist class, and the other belongs to the Flying Eagle Legion's Thunder Beast Berserker. However, people do not know that his family secretly has a third mythic class emblem, and that one of their descendants has synchronized with it. Suddenly, Jin feels something wrap around his leg and realizes that a thread has tied both his and Jiren's legs. Jin says he has been too focused on talking and has not noticed the trap. Jiren explains that this is the special ability of the silver thread silkworm. The creature itself is not very strong, but its silk is extremely tough, and it can set traps very quickly. Jiren points to several cocoons and says they are the silkworm's food reserves. If Jin destroys them and defeats the silver thread silkworm, he can reach level 30. Jin quickly kills several creatures, including a poison stinger beetle, a mucus worm, and a drilling scorpion, each giving 100% efficiency. However, he is still a little short of leveling up. Jiren then warns Jin that the thin threads around them are warning silks that will alert the silkworm if they are touched. Soon the monster finally appears, and Jiren quickly warns Jin to be careful. Jin calmly replies that there is no need for him to interfere because he will handle the monster himself. The creature roars angrily and rushes forward, but Jin quickly defeats it. Soon a system message appears saying that Jin has killed the Silver Thread Silkworm Lord and has exceeded 8 levels. Because of this victory, Jin reaches level 30. He is surprised to learn that the monster has actually been a lord. After this, new advancement conditions appear. Jin needs to kill 10 rank 3 monsters and 3 tier 3 monster lords, with at least 1 kill done with 100% efficiency. Jiren reminds Jin that he already has 3 swordsman skills prepared. As long as he completes the required monster kills, he can directly advance to tier 3. Jin then asks Jiren to explain his plan because he is almost finished with what he needs to do. He only needs to clear 1 more rank 3 nest before advancing. Jiren says his real target is the Abyss Kamaitachi, a creature with extremely sharp senses. Because of this, it needs to be attacked from both the front and the back during a full siege. The best location for this is near the nests of the sand-devouring worms and the resentment spider matriarch, since both places have many subordinate monsters. If those monsters are disturbed, they will come out in large numbers. Together with Jin's attack, this can force the Abyss Kamaitachi to open an abyss passage. If the plan works, Jiren says they will part ways afterward. He admits he does not know whether he can survive inside the abyss. Jin then asks if the item Jiren gives him is a legendary class emblem. After confirming this, Jin promises to return it later. Jiren replies that if things go well in the abyss, he will not need it, and if things go badly, he will not need it either, so he might as well give it to Jin now. Meanwhile, Zhou notices that there has not been a single monster along their path. One subordinate guesses the monsters might already be full from feeding earlier. Soon they are warned that a giant maw worm is ahead, but when they arrive they are shocked to see it has already been killed instantly by someone. All the bodies are covered with clean sword cuts. Every wound shows that the attacker used a very powerful and dominating sword technique. Zhou says that since the big mouth bug has already been taken by someone else, they should go and check the molten giant instead. Rumors say that the molten giant has extremely high defense and is very hard to kill. However, when they arrive, they see that it has already died as well. Everyone is shocked and cannot understand how this has happened. One of them looks closely at the corpse and says that even the dead body still has extremely high defense. This makes them wonder who could possibly have killed such a powerful monster. This subordinate then asks Zhou what kind of strength would be needed to deal enough damage to kill a molten giant, and he wonders if a mythic class can do it. Zhou thinks carefully and explains that even at rank 3, it is still impossible. Even with a mythic class, an SSS rank talent, full purple strength equipment, 5 purple amplification skills, and 1 purple high burst sword technique, it is still impossible to kill it so easily. A domain lord receives strong bonuses from its territory, and this molten giant's blood is connected to the entire molten lava lake, which makes it even stronger. The subordinate then suggests that the person who killed it might be a rank 7 blood sacrificer. Hearing this, both the subordinates warn Zhou that they should leave this place quickly for safety. Since the world mutation nearly 1,000 years ago, no one has been able to break the dimensional restrictions, not even rank 9 powerhouses. One of the subordinates then asks what they should do next. The other subordinate replies that their target has been lost and it is best to leave quickly. However, Zhou says that since they have already come here, they should not return empty-handed because there are still many places to explore. Meanwhile, a system message appears, telling Jin that a red tumor worm has been killed with 100% efficiency and has exceeded 1 level. There, Jiren quickly warns Jin to watch out because another red tumor worm is behind him. A monster roars loudly, prompting Jin to comment that this monster must have a death wish. Jin then kills this red tumor worm king with 100% efficiency and has gained 3 levels as well. The level difference is not very large, but he notices that the drop rate is very low. He thinks that if things continue like this, it will be very hard for an ordinary professional to become stronger. Just then, Jiren reveals that the tunnel created by the red tumor worm leads directly to the sand-devouring worm's nest. He further says he will go ahead and scout the area for a moment while Jin adjusts to the strength of rank 3. Jin replies that he is already level 30 and can now equip the molten set. After equipping the orange weapon, he immediately feels much stronger. Jiren explains that Jin's class has very high growth in both constitution and strength, which allows him to reach 100 stars even at rank 3. He says that if they encounter trouble outside later, Jin can reveal his 100-star mark so that others stay away. Since Jin has no clue what he is talking about, Jin explains that the tiger mark represents strength and the elephant mark represents constitution. After understanding this, they continue forward together to explore the sand-devouring worm's nest. About 1 hour later, they begin coughing because the air inside is hard to breathe. Even so, they are relieved because they have finally found the exit. Soon, a strong smell of blood fills the place, suggesting that abyss sickle rats are active nearby. Jiren decides to place some bait. Since the abyss sickle rat likes lava fruit the most and eyeballs second, it will likely come when it senses food. Now they only need to wait patiently. Jin wonders if this method would really be able to lure the abyss sickle rat out. In response, Jiren explains that the abyss sickle rats usually follow behind sand-devouring worms because they like to search for leftover food that those worms leave behind. They are very good at hiding, and their concealment skills are extremely strong. Because of this, under normal conditions, it is almost impossible for anyone to detect them. However, if the abyss sickle rat eats the molten fruit that is placed as bait, the strong fire element inside the fruit forces the creature to show itself. After hearing this explanation, Jin finally understands the plan. Soon they notice movement near the bait. Jiren quickly tells Jin to look carefully because the creature is already eating. Jin prepares himself to attack, but Jiren quickly tells him not to act too quickly. Since the abyss sickle rat has not completely revealed its body yet, they need to wait a little longer. Even though Jin cannot see the creature clearly, he can see that the molten fruit is slowly disappearing. This means the monster is definitely there and eating it. Suddenly the creature finally shows itself. Jiren lunges forward at the creature, saying not to worry because the real action is about to begin. Jin realizes this is the perfect chance to strike. So, he immediately launches his attack and uses his troll's earth-rending slash. The attack hits with great force, and the creature roars loudly. After the attack ends, Jin wonders if it has worked. However, something unexpected happens. The abyss sickle rat quickly escapes and disappears again. Jiren warns Jin to stay alert because abyss sickle rats are extremely cunning monsters. Even though it ran away, it is most likely still hiding somewhere nearby, and waiting for another opportunity. Jin asks if there is any other way to deal with the situation. Jiren takes out a grenade and throws it at the monster, instructing Jin to hide first. After hiding, Jin wonders what kind of strange method this is and says he does not understand the plan. Jiren then explains that the grenade he has just thrown will start many small fires around the area. Once those fires appear, the sand-devouring worms definitely react because they usually try to put out fires that spread in their territory. The abyss sickle rat has already been covered in flames after touching the bait, so when the sand-devouring worms move around to deal with the fires, their movements also reveal where the abyss sickle rat is hiding. This way, the worms themselves help locate the creature. After waiting for a short moment, they finally spot it. Jin shouts that he has found the abyss sickle rat. He then immediately attacks and strikes the creature with full force. The monster roars loudly in pain. A system message soon appears, saying that the abyss sickle rat has been killed with 100% efficiency, exceeding his level by 7. However, the situation suddenly becomes tense. Jin realizes that the rat has been pushed too far during the fight. Because the abyss sickle rat has died, the abyss gate connected to it might close at any moment. Soon, a crow comes flying from out of nowhere and sits on top of the glowing door. Jin then looks over at Jiren and asks if the strange power he has just used is his special talent. With a calm tone, Jiren replies that this is indeed his talent, which is related to the abyss. Jiren says that his special ability is called Abyss Commander, and the creature beside him is his guard. Jin then says that the abyss gate has now been opened and that this is the most he can do to help. Jiren says that, in his opinion, what Jin has done already goes far beyond the value of the class emblem. From this point forward, he says he will have to continue the journey alone because no one else can help him on the path ahead. Jin then wishes him a safe trip. Jiren comments that if he manages to come back alive and Jin has finished his business, they can organize a tour group together. Jin laughs and agrees, saying he will be the tour leader while telling Jiren that he can handle the commentary. Both of them laugh, and Jiren says he is truly looking forward to that day. Soon the moment of farewell arrives, and they say that all good things must eventually end. They part ways, not knowing when they will meet again. After leaving, Jin obtains a lucky gold coin. It has no equipment rank but is considered special equipment and works as a special accessory. Its effect increases the user's luck attribute, which raises the chance of monsters dropping high-quality equipment and items. It also allows a lucky event to be triggered once every 30 natural days, sending the user into a random dimension. Jin thinks that luck is also a kind of strength. Since this item can improve the chance of getting rare drops, he decides to test it right away. He says he will start by fighting the nearby monsters to see if he can obtain better rewards. A monster roars, and the luck effect triggers a lava splash. Jin notices that things really feel different after his luck has increased. He then says it is time to find what he needs. After defeating the Resentment Spider Matriarch, he plans to prepare his escape. Meanwhile, at the Resentment Spider Nest, Zhu notices that the nest of a simple level 39 monster is surprisingly huge. Thereafter, one of his subordinates comments to Zhu that the ice sculptures here look very artistic and would be perfect to take back to the upper city for Zhu's art exhibition. In response, Zhu asks the kid if he really understands art. The kid replies that his family works in civil engineering and specializes in architectural design. He points at the frozen monster statues around them and says they are like ice sculptures. Each one has a different pose and a different expression, which makes them look very interesting. He suggests that later they can use the resentment spider matriarch that will be killed as the main display piece, and that the smaller frozen monsters can be used as decorations around it. He says that no matter how the battle happens or how the monster is killed, he will explain everything clearly so the display looks impressive. Zhu responds that the idea is not bad, but warns the kid to be careful during the upcoming fight and not destroy the sculptures. Suddenly, Linger arrives from behind and reminds Zhu that no one has killed this native monster in 300 years, so they still need to be cautious. Zhu then asks Linger why her brother, Ji Fei, has not come. Linger explains that her brother has already broken through to rank 4 a long time ago. Because of that, there is no reason for him to come here. Zhu turns around, scoffs, and mentions that pit number 1 only opens every 20 years, and anyone slightly powerful would have already reached rank 4 within that time. He believes that people like those simply looks down on a place meant for people below rank 3. He adds that since strong experts rarely come here, many rumors make the place seem more dangerous than it really is. Zhu continues, saying that he knows everyone has their own goals for coming here, but he suggests that all plans should wait until after they kill the resentment spider matriarch together. He then orders them to start placing the bait and move quickly. Some slaves are whipped and told to block the cave entrance. Soon, the spider gets spotted. Zhu stretches and says he has not fought in a long time and wants to enjoy the battle. Suddenly, a roar echoes, followed by Zhu charging at it with his talent. Seeing this talent, Linger is in awe and realizes that Zhu's blood rage talent cannot really be underestimated. As the fight continues, the spider roars and shows itself completely, taking everyone by surprise. They are left with their mouths wide open when they realize that this is the resentment spider matriarch. The resentment spider mother finally appears, and Zhu thinks that the timing is perfect. He confidently says everyone should watch as he plays with the monster. The creature roars loudly as the fight begins. Zhu mocks it, asking if that is all the strength it has. He shouts for the monster to break apart while the battle continues. However, the spider dodges this attack and traps Zhu into its ice web. Seeing this, Linger and others are shocked, but that's not the case for Zhu at all. He becomes even more excited during the fight and says that this is more like a real battle. The monster roars again as the fight grows intense. Meanwhile, Zhu's men decide to help him with covering fire and decides to suppress the creature. Zhu then uses his skill called Frenzied Blood Decapitation. After the attack lands, the monster lets out another roar before collapsing. Jin proudly comments that the so-called 300-year crisis is nothing special after all. He brags that he is the #1 of the new generation. However, when they check the drops, he looks disappointed. They had said that native species usually drop good rewards, but only 2 blue emblems appear. Meanwhile, Zhou stands on top and calls Zhu an idiot, and explains that he has only fought a slightly stronger gatekeeping lord. He wonders if Zhu really thinks an overlord monster would be that weak. There, one of Zhou's men asks him if they should act now. However, Zhou tells them to wait, because the real show and the real fishermen have not appeared yet. Meanwhile, Zhu curses in frustration when he realizes that this spider matriarch was just some useless monster and that it only gave trash emblems. Soon a subordinate approaches Zhu and tells him that according to his skill, this monster is actually called Frost Guardian, which means it is not the real matriarch, the mother insect. Another subordinate suddenly realizes something is wrong and shouts in shock that this is not the matriarch. Another explains that if there is only a guardian here, then there must also be a superior monster somewhere nearby, and that superior monster will most likely be a domain lord. Hearing this, panic quickly spreads among the group. Someone shouts that they need to run immediately because there are even stronger monsters in this area. Another person cries out in fear that they do not want to die there. Soon someone else shouts that it is already too late because they are surrounded. Meanwhile, Jin remembers that the tour group has already arrived in this place. So, he thinks to himself that he has to obtain the cleansing resentment flower before those people manage to get it first. He carefully analyzes the letter and realizes that there are 4 domain lords in the area that represent poison, ice, fire, and wood elements. However, Jin is wearing the molten equipment set, which gives him an advantage against certain elements. Because of this elemental advantage, he believes that it can become the key to breaking through the situation. Jin decides that the best choice is to move forward and investigate the area himself. As he steps deeper into the battlefield, he notices that the surrounding monsters have already locked onto him as their target. However, Jin remains calm and even finds the situation interesting. He confidently says that the monsters might think they are hunting him, but to him they are nothing more than experience points to gain strength. The the monsters roar loudly and rush forward. Jin quickly attacks and breaks through their defenses with ease. He says that they are not even qualified to be his opponents, since their defense shatters so easily. Meanwhile, back at the spider nest, people are still panicking and ask what they should do because they do not want to die. One of the fighters tells Linger not to worry and says they will clear a path for her to escape. He then tells everyone to watch what he is about to do. Then, he follows it by firing a grenade bullet shot. The man shouts that they have successfully knocked down one of the monsters and tells Linger to leave quickly because this is their only chance to escape. As she tries to move, someone else suddenly warns everyone to watch out. All of a sudden, a huge spider monster appears, blocking their path. Linger is in absolute shock to see this huge and terrifying monster appear in front of her. Out of nowhere, Zhu charges at the spider and nose it back a bit. He then turns around toward Linger and asks if she is not going to act and help him. Linger responds and uses her ability, summoning a mountain tank through her armored mechanist power. The machine appears and shows how powerful a legendary mechanist class can be. Even with this power, the situation is still dangerous. One person desperately cries out that he does not want to die there. The monster roars loudly as the battle becomes even more chaotic. Another person shouts for help while others try to fight their way out. Then, the spider traps most of the people with its ice web. Zhu continues to fight with all his might, not wanting to give up, but the spider traps his leg using its ice web as well. Suddenly, Linger realizes that something is wrong and says there is something moving beneath them. Soon, the ground shatters and a terrifying creature appears, and they realize they have entered the Frost Spider domain. It is a domain lord, level 45 and tier 3. The monster roars as the battle continues. Linger says that fighting like this will only slowly wear them down until they all die. So, she suggests that they need to break out of the area quickly. Zhu comments that the Lord is clearly very difficult to deal with and says that he needs a moment to recover. Another person, Xia Yinze, says he is lucky because he has brought high explosive charges. He believes that the place they are standing in has not been sealed yet and that there is an exit nearby. Not long after, Zhu even spots the exit. But before he can do anything, Linger grabs his attention, apologizes to him for what she is about to do, and throws an explosive at him. This causes Zhu to fall. There, he tells Linger that she will not die a good death. Soon, the Domain Lord ends up devouring him in an instant. While running away, Linger turns around and tells Zhu that she has found him annoying for a very long time and that this outcome is exactly what he deserves. Soon after, two of the men there notice that two people have managed to escape. One of them asks the other which of the two it could be, but his mate replies that neither of them seems to match the one they are looking for. He further says that he has not seen those people contact anyone during the journey. Then the other guy asks what they should do next, and reminds his mate that young Master Fang has ordered them to keep a close watch on everyone. Because of that, they decide they will split up and chase after the escapees. Meanwhile, a system message appears saying that the Woodvine Spider Lord has been killed with 100% efficiency, yet again, and has exceeded 15 levels. The rewards include an orange potion blueprint called Holy Spring of Life, and a purple equipment blueprint called Vine Gauntlets. Nearby, someone suddenly cries out loudly for help, grabbing Jin's attention. So, Jin immediately acts and uses his Ruin Slash. Another system message appears, saying that he has killed a frost spider with 100% efficiency, and that he has exceeded 10 levels. Xia, watching the fight, is shocked and wonders who this man is because he looks incredibly strong. After the danger passes, Jin asks Xia if he can still walk. In a weak tone, he assures that he can, and thanks Jin for saving his life. Xia refers to Jin as Big Brother, and asks if he has killed all those monsters by himself. Jin calmly replies that he is searching for something, and anyone who tries to stop him will not be spared. Xia, who is watching him, is amazed by his strength and thinks that if he follows this Big Brother, his chances of surviving will become much higher. He quickly asks if he can stay by Jin's side and promises he can help with anything. He says all this while kneeling. Hearing this, Jin carefully explains to him that a man should keep his dignity and that begging like that is not appropriate, emphasizing that a man has gold under his knees. Before they can continue talking, something interrupts them, but without breaking their conversation, Jin, very calmly, drags Xia out of harm's way. Xia turns around and is shocked to see that a spider has emerged out of nowhere. He gets shocked just by even thinking the sheer number of monsters that have chased them here. Jin then quickly tells Xia to hide behind him and not to slow down his leveling. He then uses his skill called Demonic Wing and follows it with a 3-stage slash attack. The frost guardians that were once too difficult for Zhao Jiangxiong and Ji Linger are easily cut down by Jin's blade as if they are soft tofu. During the battle, a new skill emblem appears called Solar Judgment, which is an orange epic swordsman skill. This skill allows the user to stomp the ground and trigger molten lava that burns and slows nearby enemies. The molten lava can also gather into the weapon, allowing the user to leap into the air and deliver a powerful Solar Judgment attack that causes massive damage and continuous burning. Soon Jin reaches level 35. Even a common monster has dropped an epic emblem, which makes him realize how useful the lucky gold coin is. He then activates Swordsmanship Mastery, a skill that can convert normal sword skills into demon sword skills and increase their rank by 1. As he uses it, strange memories appear in his mind. In the vision, he calls himself the Lord of the Evil Blade Erkis and declares that he will execute a 12-winged angel to show his power. He says his blade will cut through falsehood. Jin wonders if these memories belong to the skill's past or to the hidden history of this world. Erkis's Judgment is a legendary, gold demon swordsman skill. When the user stomps the ground, a special platform called Erkis's Judgment Platform appears. Any target standing inside that platform become trapped and cannot escape. After that, a powerful demon judgment attack strikes every target within the platform, causing massive damage. There is also a certain chance that the attack can instantly kill the target. If the target dies, a powerful fear effect spreads to the surrounding area. This effect is called Legendary Fear. Any enemies affected by it lose control of their behavior. Jin realizes that this legendary skill is far from simple and is extremely powerful. Meanwhile, Xia admires Jin's strength and says he has definitely followed the right person. Suddenly, Zhao and his subordinates are trying to hurry because the trouble caused by the people back at the nest is slowly dragging them down. Just then, someone shouts for the young master to wait because there seems to be someone ahead. Meanwhile, the guys who ran after the escapees look back and wonder if monsters are chasing them from behind, but it does not look like that is the case. Suddenly, one of them realizes something is wrong and warns about a trap. Just then, a monster suddenly appears and attacks. Fortunately, they react quickly, otherwise they would be in serious danger. Soon, Zhao's subordinates surround the two people and order them not to move. The frightened men beg not to be killed. There, Zhao demands answers and asks who they are chasing and why they have come out. The men explain that they are from the lower city's Black Dragon gang. An important figure from the upper city has ordered them to watch all the rich young masters on the sightseeing train. Their task is to prevent the young masters from contacting the first group of mine slaves. When asked why, they say it is because the Sengui conglomerate and the Fang family are behind it. Zhao then wonders if their true goal is the mysterious unknown emblem. Zhao realizes that the man in question actually knows about the unknown emblem. This makes him wonder if the person who is supposed to meet the mine slave might also be him. Zhao then says that the man has given a satisfactory answer. The captured men immediately beg for their lives, promising that everything they said is true. One of them even swears that if he lies, his whole family should die and lightning should strike him. He pleads again for mercy. Suddenly, a healing spell is cast, and the wounds on his body completely disappear. Zhao then tells him to return and report everything he has seen, heard, guessed, and thought to the person behind him. He also says that if that person truly has no other solution, he can come to him directly. The man thanks the young master many times for sparing his life. After he leaves, one of Zhao's subordinates asks him if they are really letting them go. Zhao replies calmly that it does not matter whether people believe he has taken the item or not. When those men return, the conflict between the two powerful families will certainly grow even stronger. Back with Jin, a system message appears saying that the Domain Lord Gluttony Spider has been killed with 100% efficiency and that his level has exceeded by 4. Xia then asks Jin where they are going next. He answers that they are searching for the Resentment Spider Matriarch. Hearing this, Xia becomes frightened and says that monster is extremely dangerous. Jin replies that if he is afraid, he can leave. However, Xia quickly refuses, explaining that it is impossible for him to survive alone there. He says the safest choice is to stay beside the powerful Jin. He then introduces himself as a level 39 epic professional radiant priest with an S-rank talent called Echo Rabbit. His talent allows him to shorten spell chants and repeat them quickly. When asked about his origin, He explains that he is born in the lower city but is chosen by an upper city conglomerate after awakening his S-rank talent at the age of 16. This conglomerate owns special beast arenas where people can gain levels. However, once someone reaches level 40, they need something called a class breakthrough, so leveling up by feeding worms no longer works. Jin then asks what a class breakthrough actually means. In response, Xia explains that the human body is weak and cannot continue raising the class emblem to very high ranks by itself. Because of this, people use special altars to absorb the power of monsters. By combining a monster's power with a human body, the class becomes stronger. This process of merging with a monster's power is called a class breakthrough. Still confused, Jin questions what an altar is. Xia explains that an altar is a totem belonging to a legion, and normally only powerful groups like legions or large conglomerates possess them. The lower city does not have any altars, so people there usually have to join another faction if they want to achieve a class breakthrough. However, it is also possible to obtain a legion token and create one's own legion, although that is extremely difficult. In the entire Flying Eagle Empire, which controls a vast territory, there are only 5 legion tokens. Jin then asks if there is any other method for a class breakthrough, to which Xia reveals that there is one more way. If a very powerful monster lord dies, sometimes a spirit bead appears inside its body. Using a spirit bead allows a person to gain some of the monster's abilities while still remaining human. Hearing all this, Jin praises Xia for knowing so much and tells him to stay by his side. Soon, monsters block their path again, including a Domain Lord Shadow Spider. Jin defeats it and gains 4 levels. After the battle, a rare shadow bead appears. Suddenly, a terrifying voice speaks, revealing the arrival of the Resentment Spider Matriarch, a rank 4 monster at level 40. They are shocked to run into the Resentment Spider Matriarch there. Xia quickly warns Jin to be careful. He explains that the Matriarch is extremely dangerous because it can quickly produce many offspring and also control resentment spirits. Unless all of the offspring are completely destroyed, they can continue reviving again and again like zombies. Jin steps forward and says he will fight it himself. Xia is surprised and worried, both at the same time. Suddenly, the monster attacks with incredible speed. For a moment, it looks as if Jin cannot even withstand a single move. The Resentment Spider Matriarch mocks him, saying that for a weak human to die by her hands should be considered an honor. Meanwhile, Jin realizes how terrifying the Matriarch truly is. He almost does not even have the chance to fight back. Luckily, he has reacted quickly and summons the Nether statue in time. Otherwise, he would have been just another lifeless body. The monster moves incredibly fast, but Jin says the Matriarch is not as unstoppable as it seems. However, after the Matriarch dodges his attack, Jin has no clue about what is happening. Xia then quickly explains that the Matriarch can turn its body into water to dodge attacks, so the only way to defeat it is to catch it off guard. Now, Jin finally realizes that just before his previous strike landed, the monster split its body apart. Even so, the thrill of the fight makes his adrenaline surge. As the fight goes on, Jin tries to fight back again and again, but fails to do so. At last, the Matriarch gets her hands on Jin. Soon, when he tries to escape, the Matriarch tells Jin that he will not be able to leave her grasp so easily. Suddenly, the creature orders its minions to attack Jin. However, she gets shocked when Jin finally breaks free. This leaves her wondering how such a thing can happen since Jin was tied up. Jin, with a smirk on his face, replies that he was never truly trapped by her at all. The weakness that Jin showed earlier was only a trick to force the Resentment Spider Matriarch to reveal her real body. The Matriarch cries out in disbelief and says it is impossible. However, it is already too late. Jin attacks again, and the Matriarch can no longer escape. She screams in shock as she is defeated. Xia, watching the fight, is amazed and realizes that Jin has completely outplayed the Matriarch during the battle. Soon the system announces that Jin has killed the Overlord, the Divine Envoy Resentment Spider Matriarch, and that he has gained 5 more levels. Moreover, the efficiency rate is 95%. After the battle, a powerful item appears called the Soul of the Resentment Spider. It is a gold legendary necklace with rank 4 equipment status. The necklace grants great attributes, including 180 stars of strength, 170 stars of constitution, and 150 stars of agility. It also has several powerful abilities. One ability is Spider Silk Bind, which has a chance to trap an enemy's legs during attacks. Another ability is Venomous Water, which allows the user to transform into water and teleport a short distance when facing a fatal attack, with a cooldown of 1 day. Moreover, the skill Resentment Spider Predation allows the user to lock onto a target and launch a powerful strike that deals extremely high damage and weakens armor. Another skill can summon one of the matriarch's subordinate domain lords to fight for the user. The necklace also carries deadly poison effects that cause continuous health loss and can randomly break armor, disarm enemies, or silence them. Jin then realizes he has truly obtained a legendary emblem and feels that his luck has been extremely good. He also discovers something else valuable among the rewards, a Legion token. A legendary Legion token has actually dropped, and Jin can hardly believe what he is seeing. Not only does he get a legendary emblem, but he also received a Legion token. It feels unbelievable even to Xia. A system message then appears and congratulates Jin for obtaining the Legion token. It then asks if he wants to bind it and become the commander. Jin chooses yes, and the token immediately merges into his body. After binding it, he learns that fresh blood can be infused into the Legion token to increase the number of members. At present, the Legion can have 16 members. All members receive a 30% increase to all attributes and a 30% increase in spiritual energy gain. The token also provides several functions. There is a Legion warehouse where members can store items. Moreover, a Legion shop allows members to trade items regardless of distance. There is also a Legion channel where members can talk through a special spiritual space. The Legion Territory function allows the token to create a territory where members can teleport once every natural day. After finding out all this, Jin realizes the Legion token works much like a guild creation token. The 30% attribute and spiritual energy bonuses alone attract many professionals. However, the number of members seems limited, probably because of the token's rank. Jin then notices another item. Jiren has once said red represents the highest level, called Mythic. The item is the Book of the God's Messenger and a dimensional crystal. A system prompt asks if he wishes to claim ownership of pit number 1. Jin agrees and tests it. The system announces that he now has the highest authority over pit number 1. Jin feels that with just a thought, he can remove everyone from the pit. Soon he also notices a spiritual item called the Resentment Cleansing Flower and the Vengeful God Bead, which seem related to the Cleansing Resentment Flower. Jin wonders how the item has become a spirit resentment flower. Xia explains that the mother insect has allowed it to evolve, so it should now be even better than the resentment cleansing flower. Jin has already obtained 2 spirit beads, so he decides to give one to Xia. He then asks if there is a way to achieve a class breakthrough. Xia is surprised and says that Jin has just reached level 39 after killing the mother insect. He explains that a priest's breakthrough is different. A priest must bind with a teammate's blood and then fight against the lingering resentment of a monster. As of now, his ability is still weak, so he can only bind with one person. Jin asks if that means a priest will be stuck forever and never be able to advance, but Xia responds that this is not exactly true. Support classes have a special ability that lets them bind with teammates. As long as he borrows a drop of blood from a teammate of the same level and enters the altar, he can assist that teammate in battle and try to break through. Jin immediately offers his blood. The priest is grateful and begins the binding process, which soon succeeds. He then says Jin can use the cube energy to open the altar. When the altar appears, Xia is shocked to find out that breaking through requires 500 spirit crystals. Unfortunately, he does not have that many. Jin then asks what spirit crystals are really. Xia explains that they are the currency of the upper city. Normally, a breakthrough only costs 2 crystals, but for some reason this one requires 500. Since neither of them has any, they think about finding the nearby tour group, which likely has rich young masters who might carry spirit crystals. Zhao questions Hongyu how he, an abandoned child of the Li family, has returned to the lower city and even entered pit number 1. Hongyu answers back angrily, saying that a useless member of the Zhao family should not talk so much. Zhao then reminds Hongyu that his family has rules. During the decisive battle assessment, if someone makes a serious mistake, that person is removed from the test and replaced by another disciple who has made a mistake earlier and could not join the assessment. Seeing him here means that either Li Hongyu or Li Hongfei must have failed in their task. Hongyu angrily replies that he only came here to obtain some valuable items. He further mocks Zhao and says that someone like him should simply remain a spoiled young master because work that requires thinking is not suitable for him. At that moment, a subordinate warns Zhao to be careful because Hongyu is about to attack. Soon the two sides begin fighting over the spirit bead. Hongyu shouts that the spirit bead belongs to him and no one should try to steal it. In response, Zhao mocks him back, saying that an abandoned child trying to change his fate is only dreaming. Hidden nearby, Jin and Xia decide to stay quiet and watch the fight, waiting to take advantage later. Hongyu hopes that if he secures the spirit bead, he can break through to rank 4 and return to his family. However, he is defeated and realizes too late that his opponent has been hiding his true strength. Before dying, he warns that Li Hongyu will be waiting outside and that things will not end well. He also mentions a mysterious emblem that might be hidden in pit number 1, which makes Jin wonder if it is the same emblem he carries. Zhao then suddenly turns around and asks if anyone is there and orders them to come out. Xia realizes they have been discovered and asks Jin what they should do. Zhao calls out for these stalkers and says that they have been watching for so long and that it's their time to come out and show themselves. Jin calmly says they are only passing by and tells them to continue what they are doing. However, Zhao's subordinate quickly warns him to be careful. Zhao notices that the aura feels familiar and realizes this is the same person who has killed the monster lords along the path earlier. Zhao immediately stops his subordinate and speaks politely, saying that anyone who can approach so quietly must be very skilled. He asks if Jin has heard what Li Hongbin said earlier. Jin answers calmly that it does not matter whether he hears it or not. While observing Jin, the young master notices the strange energy around his chains and feels it is unusual for a normal priest. He then explains that Li Hongyu has already arranged a dragnet outside. Zhao further says that Li Hongyu is the type of person who would rather kill 1,000 innocent people than let one enemy escape. So everyone leaving pit number 1 is treated as a suspect. Zhao then suggests working together. Jin questions why he should trust him. Zhao replies that he has already helped remove a potential threat and also claims he knows where Jiran is. Before they can talk further, a warning comes to Zhao from one of his subordinates that something is approaching. Soon, a large swarm of insects arrives, attracted by the smell of blood from the earlier battle. Jin quickly attacks and kills the higher-level elite bug guard with perfect efficiency, and his powerful strikes wipe out the swarm instantly. Impressed by Jin's strength, Zhao suggests cooperation again, offering spirit crystals for their breakthroughs, safety after leaving the pit, and more information about Jiren and the world. Jin asks how many crystals he has, and the young master promises enough for both, him and Xia, plus a payment of 100,000 spirit crystals after they escape. Jin agrees, but adds one condition. Zhao must teach his companion 2 techniques, including the mind net skill. Zhao reminds Jin that teaching the mind net skill to his subordinates will take some time. While talking, he also notices that Xia seems to understand Jin's plans very well. Because of this, Zhao decides that he should also keep his promise and prove that he can be trusted as well. To show his sincerity, Zhao immediately summons 500 spirit crystals and places them in front of Jin. He explains that this amount will be enough for both Jin and Xia to complete their breakthroughs. When Xia sees the large number of spirit crystals appear all at once, he is completely shocked. He has never seen so many spirit crystals before, and it makes him realize how rich a young master from the upper city truly is. Jin seems almost satisfied after seeing the crystals, but he still has another question. He asks Zhao about Jiran. Zhao calmly explains that Jiran is someone very close to him. In fact, Zhao says that Jiran can even be considered half a mentor to him. From everything Zhao knows about Jiran, he believes that Jiran will never fall into darkness or corruption. Zhao then asks Jin if it is true that Jiran has entered the abyss. Jin responds by asking Zhao if he also plans to follow Jiren there. Zhao shakes his head and explains that he only wants to know whether asking Zhao if he also plans to follow Jiren there. Zhao shakes his head and explains that he only wants to know whether Jiren has discovered the secret of class regression. As they continue talking, they suddenly notice that the energy inside the cave is slowly beginning to change. After sensing this change, Zhao decides that it will be best to complete his breakthrough before leaving the cave. He believes that Hongyu is most likely waiting outside for them. However, Jin is actually pleased to hear this because it means he will have a chance to test the new skills he has gained. Zhao then quickly tells everyone that he knows a nearby place where they can safely perform the breakthrough. Zhao quickly starts running and tells the others to follow him. After reaching a safe place, he takes out 500 spirit crystals, summons them, and begins consuming them for his breakthrough. With the help of the crystals, Zhao finally manages to complete his breakthrough successfully. At the same time, Jin continues fighting monsters nearby. He moves through the area and kills the monsters one after another without stopping. After clearing the enemies around him, Jin sits down quietly and waits for his own breakthrough to begin. After some time passes, both Xia and Jin successfully complete their breakthroughs. When Zhao sees Jin finish the breakthrough, he quietly thinks to himself that Jin is definitely not an ordinary person. From what he has seen, he can tell that Jin is extremely powerful. Meanwhile, Xia happily walks over to Jin and proudly says that he has now reached rank 4. Zhao congratulates both Xia and Jin for successfully advancing. However, he also reminds Jin that it is now time for him to keep his promise and fulfill his part of the agreement. Zhao points toward the outside and says that the eldest son of the Li family, Li Hongyu, is most likely waiting outside for them. Jin immediately agrees and says that he does not want to make Hongyu wait for too long. Zhao then leads Jin and Xia to a nearby train station. He points at a train and explains that it is the way they will leave this place. Jin looks around and asks Zhao why Li Hongyu is not seen anywhere yet. Zhao replies that Hongyu is probably guarding the exit behind the station. Jin then walks deeper into the train and notices Linger sitting there. She asks why only they have arrived and where the others are. Zhao calmly sits beside her and explains that no one else will be coming and that it is time for them to leave. Wang sits in a room with Lin Meng. While waiting, he begins to wonder if Jin has not made his move yet and questions whether Jin might not come at all. Suddenly, Fang pushes the door open and rushes into the room. He immediately demands that Wang hand over the item. Wang quickly denies everything and says that he does not know what Fang is talking about. Fang then reminds him that a rank 4 mage has dug underground and discovered a mechanical repair shop. Since the criminal slaves do not have the ability to do such a thing, Fang believes that Wang must have gone to the repair shop himself. Because of that, Fang concludes that Wang is the only person who could have taken the item away. Wang firmly denies the accusation again. He explains that he has come here for a completely different reason and has no interest in the Li family's emblem at all. However, Fang continues pressing him and demands that he hand over the emblem immediately. For a moment, the room falls into complete silence. Suddenly, someone hiding behind Fang rushes forward and attacks him. Fang reacts quickly and easily avoids the attack. After realizing that the ambush has failed, Wang decides to fight personally. He rushes toward Fang and shouts that Fang should stop dreaming about taking anything from him. At the same time, the train carrying Jin and the others enters another dimension. Li Hongyu is already waiting there and is fully prepared. One of his subordinates reports that the train has arrived. As the train continues moving forward, Hongyu stands directly on the track in front of it without moving. Eventually, the train is forced to stop. After stepping out of the train, Zhao looks around and wonders who the third young master of the Li family is waiting for there. Li Hongyu looks at Jin and asks how he has arrived there when the dimension has not even opened yet. Jin calmly replies that he has his own secret method that allows him to travel between dimensions whenever he wants. Hearing this, Hongyu decides not to waste any more time. He says that everything will end quickly if Jin does not resist and orders him to hand over all the special equipment he is carrying. Before Jin can even answer, Zhao steps forward and prepares to fight. He warns Hongyu not to act so arrogantly and tells him that he should not even think about stealing anything from them. Hongyu is already tired of talking, so he immediately orders his men to attack Jin and Zhao. The men rush forward toward them. Jin calmly stands his ground and asks them if they really want to die. When the attackers reach him, he strikes them with powerful blows that send them flying backward. The scene shocks Hongyu because it happens right in front of him so easily. Seeing a man from the lower city act so boldly makes Hongyu even angrier. He decides to handle the situation personally and attacks Jin himself. Jin blocks the strike without much effort and mocks Hongyu by asking if that is the best he can do. He says the attack is not even strong enough for him to warm up. Furious at being mocked, Hongyu swears that he will kill Jin and even slaughter every prisoner in Deadman City. He immediately releases his skills and launches them toward Jin, declaring that he will turn those prisoners into minced meat. Jin is surprised by how quickly Hongyu casts his skills and cannot react in time. The attack strikes Jin and knocks him backward. At that moment, Jin realizes that he has underestimated Hongyu. Watching the scene, Zhao begins to wonder if Hongyu might be too strong for Jin. Hongyu then coldly tells Jin that he has overestimated himself. However, Jin slowly stands up again. His eyes turn red as he stares at Hongyu and asks in a threatening voice if that is really the case. After saying those words, Jin slowly walks toward Hongyu in a threatening way. In a single movement, he swings his blade across Hongyu's face, and blood immediately splashes everywhere. In that instant, Hongyu is completely decapitated. Even in his final moment, Hongyu cannot believe that someone from the lower city can be so powerful. Jin then gives a small smirk and calmly speaks to the fallen Hongyu. He explains that the fear he shows earlier is only an act. It has all been a performance meant to distract Hong Yu, and Hong Yu has walked straight into the trap without realizing it. Zhao is completely shocked when he sees what has just happened. He can hardly believe that Jin has been able to kill the third young master of the Li family so easily. Standing nearby, Xia speaks calmly and says that what they have just seen is not even Jin's true strength yet. At that moment, Zhao suddenly receives a phone call from his seventh uncle. His uncle asks him if he has already come out of the pit. Zhao confirms that he has, and comments that news seems to travel very quickly. Zhao's uncle then tells him to come and meet him right away. Zhao agrees and ends the call. Jin then asks Zhao what has happened. Zhao explains that he is going to take Jin to meet someone. When Jin asks who it is, Zhao replies that it is his seventh uncle. Soon after, Zhao brings Jin with him to his seventh uncle's house. When they arrive, Zhao stands outside and announces that he has come. The uncle slightly opens the door and sees that Zhao has really arrived. He then opens the door fully and invites Zhao inside to sit down. However, as they walk in, the uncle begins to feel that there is something unusual and suspicious about Jin. After sitting down comfortably, Zhao tells his seventh uncle that Zhu has not survived and has died inside the pit. When his uncle asks how Zhu has died, Zhao explains that Zhu has been tricked and set up by Ji Linger. Zhao then asks his uncle for advice about how they should explain this matter, because if people learn that Linger has plotted against Zhu, it might cause serious trouble and even create chaos in the Flying Eagle Empire. Zhao's uncle calmly tells him not to worry about that issue and says the boss only wants Zhao to focus on learning the 6 skills as soon as possible. After saying that, the uncle looks toward Jin and asks Zhao how Jin has come with him. Zhao looks confused and asks his uncle if he already knows Jin. The uncle explains that he does not know Jin personally, but he has known Jin's father before because they once have business dealings together. Jin himself has never known who his father really is. The uncle then asks Jin if his name is Diwu Jingquan and whether he is the son of Diwu Xinshu. Jin confirms this, and in his mind he wonders if his family might not have been as useless as he once believed since his father has known important people. The uncle then asks Jin another question. He says he has heard that Jin once suffers a class emblem rejection and wonders how he has managed to awaken again. Jin explains that Jiren has helped him. Hearing Jiran's name, the uncle nods and says that now it makes sense why Jin is so capable. At that moment, Zhao interrupts and asks his uncle for 200,000 spirit crystals, promising he will repay them later. The uncle calls his men, who bring 2 boxes containing spatial rings with 100,000 crystals each. He hands the boxes to Jin as the agreed payment. Jin thanks him and says he needs to go to the Champ's street guard post, but the uncle reveals the post has already been destroyed after Fang Huai fights a warlord and escapes. Jin asks if a young girl has been there, and the uncle says Fang has taken her too. Zhao offers to get the girl back with a phone call, and Jin agrees. At the same time, Fang is bathing when a worker tells him that Lin Meng has woken up, and Fang immediately asks her if her brother has given her an emblem before he dies. Fang becomes angry with Lin Meng and warns her to watch her words before speaking again. At that moment, he receives a message on his phone. The message says that if Fang hands over the girl, he will receive the sand heart flower in exchange. After reading the message, Fang becomes excited and curious about what will happen next. He quickly gets out of the bathtub and tells Lin Meng that they are going downstairs. Outside, Fang stands in front of Zhao's men who have arrived there. He asks them if they have been sent by Zhao Lu Bai. The men confirm that Zhao Lu Bai has sent them. They explain that they are there to take the girl away, and in return, Fang will receive the sand heart flower. One of the men then opens a briefcase and shows Fang what is inside. It is the sand heart flower. Fang looks at it carefully and examines it closely. After checking it for a moment, he confirms that the flower is real. Seeing the genuine item makes Fang feel relieved. He happily says that Yan will no longer have to die now. After that, Fang hands the girl over to Zhao's men. The men gently tell the girl that they have come to pick her up because someone has asked for her. When she asks who that person is, they tell her that it is Jin Chuan. At the same time, Jin thanks Zhao for everything he has done to help him. After expressing his gratitude, Jin asks Zhao what he wants in return for all of his help. Zhao tells Jin that there is a secret place called the Curse Bone Cave. He wants Jin to go with him into that dark realm so they can connect there and hunt for equipment. Jin understands that the mission will be dangerous, but he still agrees to help. Soon after, Zhao's men come into the room and report that they have brought Lin back safely. As soon as Lin sees Jin standing there, she quickly runs toward him and hugs him tightly. She looks very relieved to see that he is safe. Jin gently reminds her that he has promised he will return to her. He then tells her that he has prepared a gift for her. Jin takes out the legendary emblem and gives it to Lin. After using the emblem, Lin awakens again and becomes part of the legendary gunner class. Zhao is very surprised when he sees this happen. Jin then congratulates Lin on her awakening and tells her that from now on, she will no longer be the girl who is always bullied by others. After that, Zhao says it is time for them to leave and head toward the bone cave. However, Jin has another idea. Since Lin has just awakened, he suggests that she come with them to the cave. Jin believes that Lin needs real battle experience so she can grow stronger. Zhao agrees with the idea and orders his men to prepare equipment for Jin and Lin. He tells them to help the two change into proper gear and also bring the batch of unencapsulated rank 1 thermal weapons stored in the warehouse. Zhao brings Lin to the arsenal and shows her the encapsulated weapons stored there. He explains that she can use her ability to bind with those weapons directly. Lin walks closer to the weapons and begins using her skill. After finishing, she feels as if the weapons have become part of her own body. Zhao then tells Jin and Lin Meng to get into the car. When Jin steps inside, he is surprised by how large the vehicle is. Zhao explains that the car is specially built and can withstand attacks from very strong monsters. However, he also mentions that operating such a vehicle costs a lot of money. After that, they begin traveling toward the Yellow Earth Peak Forest. When they arrive, Zhao explains that the monsters in this area are not very strong, so it is a good place for beginners to practice fighting. Jin says that is fine, and asks Xia to help coordinate with Lin Meng during the training. Soon after, a sandbug suddenly appears nearby. Lin steps forward and confidently says that she will handle it. She raises her sniper rifle and prepares to attack while Jin calmly guides her and tells her what to do. Lin carefully follows his instructions. With a single precise shot, she successfully defeats the sandbug. Jin feels that Lin has done very well. He praises her and tells her to maintain the same rhythm during battle. He also reminds her to pay close attention to the timing between each breath so that her shooting remains steady and accurate. Soon after that, Jin notices that more bugs are coming toward them. Since the monsters are moving quickly, Jin advises Lin to keep a safe distance from them while attacking. Lin prepares to shoot the moving bugs, but just as she is about to fire, she suddenly feels that something is not right. Without warning, the ground beneath her starts shaking violently. In the next moment, a sandbug king bursts out from the ground and launches an attack toward Lin. The attack happens very quickly, but Jin immediately tells her to dodge it. After she avoids the strike, Jin quickly gives her more instructions. He tells Lin to focus carefully on the weak point of the bug king and switch her weapon to sniper rifle mode. He also tells her to activate the ultimate firepower enhancement skill. Lin listens closely and follows every instruction Jin gives her. She stays calm, aims carefully, and uses the skill as Jin has told her. In the end, Lin manages to defeat the Sandbug King by herself. After the battle, Jin asks Xia to take Lin deeper into the area so she can gain more experience and level up since there is still time left. The two of them go into the forest together, and during their training, Lin eventually reaches level 10. However, at that same time, a group of thugs happens to pass through the area. When they notice Xia and Lin Meng standing there, their leader sees that Lin is dressed very well. Because of that, he assumes they must be carrying valuable items